In this lesson, you will learn how you can use the BDD specifications in ALM Octane. The specification language is based on Gherkin. ALM Octane allows you to use Gherkin in two different areas. One is to implement BDD specifications, and the other one is to use it for Gherkin test. Gherkin test is mainly focusing the user base who's working with Cucumber. Using BDD specification, it allows you to fully utilize BDD as a methodology. So let's see how this is done. BDD specifications are part of the backlog module. So let's go in. BDD specifications are part of the backlog module because they need to be specified in the same manner like requirements and backlog. And as it is an agile methodology, it belongs to the backlog module. So how does it work? If you want to create a BDD specification, you need to make sure that you are in the backlog module on the BDD specifications. And here you can create the BDD specification by clicking on plus. From the organization perspective, you are on the backlog module, means you can also utilize the backlog tree and create your BDD specifications as part of your SAFe framework or any other methodology you are using and extend it with your BDD implementations. You can use this structure, but you don't have to. It is just a help for you to better set the context and define the structure where your BDD specifications will be saved and stored. For this demo, I will not use it. So now let's create a BDD specification by clicking on Add BDD Specification. And we will create a specification for calculator. So calculator is what I would like to create now, and a BDD specification can be mapped one-to-one to a feature file. Define the description. Let's say capabilities to provide, add, subtract, divide, and multiply functions. Just keep it simple for now. And now let's edit, add and edit to add the BDD specification. Now we are in the specification itself. Yeah, so you can see it is exactly the format what ALM Octane has. And here I can say this feature is a calculator. So this is done, and I can also describe now background, whatever I should have. So this is important. So this Octane tags this feature file directly. It is important once you automate the specification that it is tracked back to the correct item in Octane. So after you have defined the feature, you can add scenarios. So there is a button where you can use a template of a scenario and scenario outline. So let's quickly see it. This is how it looks like. And I can go back. Oops. So let's say go back, Control Z, and scenario outline would look like this. Again, Control Z to go back. And now let me add a scenario which, and you can see it also follows the syntax. So if you do a typo or your syntax is not correct, it will tell you basically. So the first scenario is I would like to add feature or function. So let's say this is calculate add. And now I can define further. So given I have calc with 12 entry, when I ask it to say add, then it should answer with add 15. So this is the scenario for add function. I can do this now for the subtract function as well as multiply as divide. So all my scenarios I can now define here. So let's save it for now. And let's add another scenario. Second, I would add it on the bottom. So let's add it here. And this scenario is now calculate subtract. I will basically copy it, replace it, and here I can say subtract. It will answer sub is 9. So add two more scenarios, 1 and 2, and I can basically copy this. I think it was better if I would have copied it, but anyway. So the third one is multiply. And here I can say it should answer more. And here we have 36, and divide. It should say divide. And this is div 4. So basically this is what I have defined now for my feature for the specification with all the scenarios. So you basically go and define all the scenario which you think is best for the developer as well as a tester to understand this specification in order to progress with their task. And now this specification exists, and it's completely up to the team how the implementation will start. So basically this is already created. You can see here the BDD scenarios. Yeah, so all the scenarios have been added here. This is also very important in order to see directly which scenario has been implemented, which is not implemented. Yeah, so you can see here later on, once those will be executed, you will see here last run pass failed, not completed, whatever. So you will see here green and red in order to understand how far you are. I've done a mistake. Let me correct it again. So here it's divide. Save it. And while I was saving the whole time, what Octane also does is Octane creates version. Yeah? And these versions allow you to see what has been changed, who changed it, and what was the change time. You can basically also compare older versions with the newer version. So you can see here as well what you have changed, what you have added. So everything is documented, and at any time you can go back basically to an older version. So now what you can do is you can start with the phase. So there's a workflow as well, which allows you to follow a transition that this specification will move to InDesign. Once it is InDesign, it can now the work can be started. So the scenarios can be automated in this specification. And once all the automation is done, you can start developing, or you can do it in parallel. One thing I forgot to mention is on the BDD scenarios, basically you can also execute this scenario as manual test. Yeah, so if you have not enough resources to automate, you can also use the manual execution in order to get the implementation covered. So now let's see how you can bring this into automation. So we will automate the specification now. So first of all, you need to download the script. So once you have downloaded it, you can go into your IDE and load it in your IDE. So I have already done it. Here you can see I've already imported it into a Cucumber project based on Maven. And what I can do now is I can start to define the step definition now. So let's say I can say here more action, and what I will do is I will create all step definitions. So for all the steps, what you will see, I have already a definition file, so I can use it. So you can see it has created all the steps. So you see only I have one given. This is because the way I've written the feature file, it has recognized that this can be, this is the same for all the 4 scenarios I have, and then I have the difference in the add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So basically this is what I have received now. So now let me automate it, and then I will, once I've automated it, I will continue. So I have automated those. So let's quickly take a look here. So what I've done is I've automated the tests here in the step definition, and these are automated. For few I don't have implemented the function yet. So you can see I have only implemented the calculator for add. So you can see the calculator here. I have only the add function, and now what I will do is I will start the pipeline only with the add function to show you what happens. Yeah? The test exists for all the different functions. So you can see here that it is being compared with asset equals for all the different functions we are expecting to have. So test cases are automated. The development is not yet done completely. So let's run the pipeline. I will go now to the pipeline module and hit here run pipeline. So basically what I'm expecting to have is it should execute the test cases, and once this is done, it should also report back what are the test cases which are passed and which were failed. Yeah? So I'm waiting now here. So it's still running. So let's give it a minute. I can see it is completed now, so I need to refresh. It's unstable, which is okay for me. So now let's see here. So basically here is exactly what I was looking for. So first of all, I see here my 4 scenarios. Yeah, one scenario is passed because it has been implemented. The other scenarios are not yet passed. They are automated, but they are failing. Yeah? Let's quickly take a look in the backlog module. On the BDD specification, I can see here on the BDD scenarios, script, first of all, script changed externally. I also changed here something. So Octane realized it. So I changed the feature file a bit in the IDE. So it realized it, and I will accept the change. So it will be changed here as well. So this is fine. And now in the BDD scenarios, this is exactly what we want. Yeah, so here I can see this scenario add is done. 3 scenarios are still open. So if I would now implement the other scenarios, it will show me here the next one is green and so on. So let's now implement, let's say subtract and multiply. I will do it and then we will run it together. So I have implemented now the function for subtract and multiply. Let's take a look quickly here. So in the calculator, you can see I have now also subtract and multiply, and the step definition gets it here as well. This is what matters, the check if this function is working or not. And let's see how now the pipeline behaves. So we will rerun the pipeline, and then I expect here to be green, and this one should be green as well. So let's go into the pipelines module, rerun the pipeline, and now give it a minute so it will execute. So pipeline is running. I can see it is now should be finished. So let's take a look. It's still on the progress bar running, but I think I'm here already. It reported back that it's still unstable, but this is because of the other scenarios and feature files I'm having. So let's see. So it should be completed by now. It is. And let's go here to the steps, and I can see exactly now that in the second run these two are passed and divided still failed. So what is the backlog module? The specification telling me. In the specifications I can see on the scenario level that 3 are passed now and 1 is still missing out. So here on the details, what I can see is, and this is also very important when you're working with automated specification, with providing the feature files from Octane and the possibility that it can be changed on the IDE. This really requires alignment, and Octane does it automatically, so it always comes up here. If the code is not aligned, you saw it that even it was changed externally, I'm able to identify, or if I would change it, it can be identified also in the IDE. And as well as here, the automation status, so I can see that all my scenarios are fully automated. Even the functions which I'm looking for are not yet fully implemented. So let's implement now the last function, and we will then continue and rerun the pipeline. So last function is also automated. Let's go to the pipeline and run it quickly. So this is our final run. Let's hit it. And now it will start executing the test, the pipeline, and will run the automated specifications in order to see if all the functions we are expecting are met or not. Yeah. So now let's see. It is executing. So it should not be it should not take too much time. It's running. Now it's passed. This is good for us. You can refresh basically from here. Still need to feedback completely. Yeah. So now we can see it. So it's done. So now I can see I didn't refresh here. So I can see here the test cases, which the scenarios which are automated, and now all 4 are green, which I expected to have, and also the pipeline execution is successful now. Let's go finally to the backlog module, and let me quickly change the layout here. Let me just bring the correct fields here. We have here the owner. I don't need it for now. So I have the automation status is already here. Yeah. So this is the view what I wanted to have. And now in the scenarios, I can see all the scenarios are completed, and I'm able to execute the automated specification out of ALM Octane. So this is a simple way how you can really make use of BDD, not from the perspective being a testing framework, but also using it as a methodology, and Octane provides the tool to support it.